West Denver. Sleep deprived and heavily caffeinated.
All right, let's do this then.
This is the Jeff and Bill Show.
I don't agree with that.
They don't always agree, but hey, at least they have coffee.
Coffee.
And each other.
I love you, man.
God help us.
I want to bless him. We need all the help we can get.
Now here's Jeff Hunt and Bill Thorpe. The Jeff and Bill Show on News Talk 710 KNUS.
I'm being physically tortured. This morning, it's 8 a.m. on the Jeff and Bill Show, and I made a big mistake. I made a huge mistake. I told Bill I hate ska music, and he controls the board.
Yeah.
And so today he's making me listen to ska music at the entrance of every segment.
Yes, we are. This comes
and then
to
he
us,
gives me some stupid random history about it.
This is Save Ferris from 1997. Of course, doing Dexy's Midnight Runners, Come on Eileen, which was popular in the 80s. Save Ferris is fantastic live, by the way. So.
All right, so
yes.
This all starts for me. My revulsion of ska comes from my freshman year college roommate, who's a great guy, by the way. He's a pastor here in Denver.
I already like him.
And he's heard about it. We've got him on the line, and I blame him for all of this, Pastor Mike.
Pastor Mike, you rock. This is awesome. All right, let's skank a little bit here today. All right, you remember Save Ferris? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So Mike comes in freshman year. It's like 2000. It's the fall of 2000, and it's just ska 24 hours. Now I'm exaggerating. It's not ska 24 hours a day, but it was ska all the time. Mike, what was this? What was this love you had for ska?
Well, my love for ska traces back to one local band, a Denver band called Five Iron Frenzy.
Oh yeah, they're good. They're really good. Yep.
Those are my guys.
Nice choice.
And then it just played on loop. And we didn't have girlfriends. We're freshmen in college, so I sat there and listened to this.
There is a certain correlation, I think, between loving ska and not having a girlfriend. But we could explore that in other ways.
Yeah, I've been to enough shows that the gender between the crowds. Yeah, absolutely, my friend, absolutely. That is
Right.
Well done.
Now, Mike, are you still a ska fan? Does this still get you going?
I think my ska energy faded out a little bit, but this conversation is inspiring me. I think my work today is going to have a good soundtrack.
Oh, and the kids.
Oh, yeah.
Have you introduced the kids yet to ska? Are they all ska fans?
I have introduced them. They make a face that speaks volumes when I play it, so I'm going to need to wear them down a little bit.
Yeah, you will. In fact, okay, now this is one that I'm going to have you start with, Pastor Mike. If you want to introduce the kids, this is one that is more contemporary. We'll play just a little bit of this to kind of open it up a little bit here. Here comes. Now, this song drops in 2021, but it's a cover of a 2019 hit that everybody knows. So your kids may be interested in this one. And we'll walk about why it's important here in a sec. But here it comes. That is the Interrupters covering Bad Guy by Billie Eilish. Billie Eilish, who's Universal, yeah. So the Interrupters come out of L.A. Really interesting. The lead singer, female, she's married to the lead guitarist. And the rhythm section are twin brothers who are the younger brothers of the guitarist.
Bill,
so it's three brothers and a lead singer.
I can't think. I cannot think of worse radio if you planted it than ska with random facts around ska. Like I
Oh,
just.
this is a family occasion.
Yes,
Jeff.
this is a family occasion. We are.
Oh, and I've got to
family together.
apologize to Kathleen. She's waiting here, and we're doing this to her.
No, this is
Hey.
we're doing a mission here. We are allowing Pastor Mike, to connect with his kids. We are giving him an opening, an opportunity. This is about the greater good. I can't believe this,
That's
Pastor
right.
Mike, that your friend here, Jeff, my co-host, doesn't understand the greater good we are doing here today. This is.
Jeff has
yeah.
always had trouble with taste.
Yeah.
So
I know. I feel
So
it
there's to it.
must have been hard, Pastor Mike, that first year in college. Must have been really hard.
It all goes back to that. Well, Pastor Mike, you've been a real treat. Thank you for taking time this morning,
Pastor
my
Mike,
friend.
you're a
hey,
rock star.
guys,
Thank you,
happy
man.
to chat with you.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Coming up after news and comments, we're going to talk with the principal of the Multi-Use Advocacy Group. She was former president of the Western Energy Alliance for years, nominated at one point to head up the BLM. Kathleen Sgamma is going to join us to talk about Jared Polis's 2040 plan and what he intends to do to essentially drive out the oil and gas industry, turn everything green. And it's really going to change, particularly the eastern part of Colorado with windmills and solar going up all over. It's going to be a little shocking to you. We'll get to that next. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill Show. Let's get to Blake Olson.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, news and comment.
Good morning. Happy Friday. 70 and cloudy in Denver, expecting a high of 94 today. This portion of the news sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about special savings opportunities on Lennox equipment. Our top story.
We get along. There's a good respect level on both sides, and I think something's going to come of it. I noticed he's bringing a lot of business people from Russia, and that's good. I like that because they want to do business, but they're not doing business until we get the war settled.
DJT posting this morning, quote, high stakes and headed to Alaska. That was right before he took off. He has a meeting with Putin to try and end the deadly war as Russia waging more attacks reportedly today on Ukraine. And Geraldo on TDS.
If your philosophy and if your position is that the president is always wrong, sometimes you have to do real mental and physical gymnastics to say that you're on the side of the people who care about law and order. Just because it's Trump's idea doesn't make it bad. I think that I would love that to now be, like, for instance, this Putin summit that's coming up. I would love for the Democrats to be cheering the president on rather than criticizing everything, almost by rote. If Trump says it, then the deranged, the syndrome says that it's bad.
The Kremlin said that before the meeting, delegations from the U.S. and Russia will hold a working breakfast, kind of like Jeff and Billy at IHOP. And then after the meeting, Trump and Putin will hold a joint news conference. And the New York Post, get this one. This one is interesting. Reporting that Hillary admits she would nominate Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize if he helps end the war in Ukraine. And speaking of Hillary the huckster, Assistant AG Harmeet Dillon, who is awesome, tells Benny Johnson, this is great. Watergate has nothing on Clinton, Barry, Comey, Clapper, and Brennan.
And so today, and people talk about Watergate. Watergate was playing patty cakes. It was personal, petty corruption at a pretty small level compared to what you're just describing. A conspiracy to deprive the American people of their rightful choice for president. And I think we're naive if we think it stopped with that. I think there is an ongoing lack of concern for the rights of American citizens to select their own elected officials. In the case of the hatred for President Trump, combined with raw greed for power, has led to massive civil rights violations.
And the media. The top lawyer for D.C. rejecting a push by AG Pam Bondi to name an emergency police commissioner. Bondi ordered D.C. authorities to recognize DEA chief Terry Cole as emergency commissioner. D.C.'s AG, however, told the police chief that the Bondi order is unlawful and you're not legally obligated to follow it. A trade group, including social media heavyweights Meta and X, are suing Colorado for a recent law requiring the companies to notify minors how using social media affects them. The lawsuit was filed in the U.S. District Court by NetChoice. A fourth person has died in New York City from Legionnaire's disease. City health officials gave an update Thursday and said there have now been 99 reported cases of Legionnaire's in Harlem. A dozen cooling towers have tested positive for Legionnaire's bacteria in the Manhattan neighborhood. All right, Diamondbacks over the Rockies last night, 8-2, back at it tonight. Shadur Sanders and the Browns, they play tomorrow morning at 11, and they take on the Eagles. And the Nielsen ratings say that first game was Shadur Sanders recorded 2.2 million tuning in for that. Threw for 138 yards, a couple touchdowns in the victory. A lot of eyes watching Shadur Sanders. Cardinals at the Broncos tomorrow night. Nuggets schedule is out. They tip off the season October 23rd at Golden State. And the quote of the week before we go to the temperatures.
Many of our friends, Benny, and I know
wrong
people
one.
whose rights are personally
I
violated.
had the wrong one, and here it is, the quote of the week.
There is a certain correlation, I think, between loving ska and not having a girlfriend. But,
Beautiful. Pastor Mike, wow. Perfect. That music is horrible, Billy. 69 in Parker, 68 in Superior, 70 in Denver. Jeff and Billy continue with the music. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Warm temperatures, afternoon and evening thunderstorms, typical August weather for Denver. Highs today, low to mid-90s, a good chance of afternoon and evening thunderstorms. Lows tonight, low to mid-60s. Temperatures will be about 90 for Saturday and Sunday. A fairly good chance of thunderstorms Saturday, mainly isolated thunderstorms Sunday. Weather is a service of L&L Heating and Air Conditioning. For quick, trustworthy, and dependable service, call L&L Heating and Air Conditioning at 720-851-1691. Visit them online at bestdenverhvac.com. You'll be comfortable with L&L. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Because it is one of his least favorite in the entire world, and he denigrated the genre yesterday. So now the universe is aligned, and we're highlighting ska music. This is Desmond Decker and the Aces from 1967, 007 Shantytown. Some of the imaging takes lifts from some of the James Bond movies at the time, but it's about a protest that students did against an industrial complex that was going to be set up near a beach. But yeah, this has been covered a number of times. Shantytown. This is early. This is one of the early versions of ska, and it's also one of the early versions of what's called Rude Boy, in which you have kind of a negative archetype that is the lead character inside the song. But yeah, this is Shantytown.
As you can imagine, our text messages are on either side of pretty much every issue. Yes. All the time, we get text messages that go, I agree with Bill.
Yeah.
Or I agree with Jeff. In this case, it's the same thing.
Yeah, it is.
I enjoy the ska music and its history. Others going, this is terrible radio, and I'm with that. So we're on that side.
Yeah.
But I think we can all agree that Kathleen Sgamma, principal.
Wait, did you say Sgamma?
Sgamma.
It's as if the universe has aligned.
I know.
Of course she has to be on our show today.
Yeah,
See what the universe is telling you, Jeff? There's a message here.
So
Just gotta listen.
Kathleen's storied career with the Western Energy Alliance. She's now the principal of the Multiple Use Advocacy Group. And I wanted to bring her on because we know Jared Polis has this 2040 energy plan. but it's really starting to have some serious consequences for the state of Colorado. I know this because we live out in Elbert County, and there's a big battle now with Excel, bringing in major power lines. In fact, they're seizing eminent domain, using eminent domain to seize property in order to put up these big wires. But a lot of this has to do with the fact that in order to hit 2040 and Jared Polis's goal of 100% renewable energy, we're going to be building a ton of windmills and solar panels out east. This is going to change Colorado. We saw earlier this week, we talked about how Polis is going after oil and gas, specifically telling oil and gas executives he plans to shut them down. Well, Kathleen Sgamma has got a great career on these energy issues. She's going to give us some insight right now. Kathleen, thank you so much for taking time to join the Jeff and Bill Show.
Yes, thank you. Good morning.
Thanks for having me on, gentlemen. I appreciate it, and I'm glad I fit in with your Scott theme this morning.
See,
the good news for Jared Polis is he will not be governor by 2040, so he does not have to deal with the political fallout of not having achieved his goal of 100% renewables by 2040.
Yeah, this reminds me a lot of John Hickenlooper saying he's going to end homelessness in 10 years, and that was 2006. It's now worse than ever. But, I mean, it just doesn't seem reasonable to me, and I don't think Coloradans really understand what's about to happen to our state. I mean, in order to meet AI goals, for instance, we know you can't rely on wind and solar to do that. So talk to us about how becoming 100% renewable by 2040, what that's actually going to require Colorado to do. Kathleen, we've lost you. She looks, can you hear us, Kathleen?
Oh, sorry
okay,
about that.
We got you now. Go ahead, please.
Because of what you were talking about, all the installation of transmission lines, all of the installation of wind and solar, they're also planning to retire coal and natural gas capacity prematurely. So that's a huge cost. And Common Sense Institute estimates that it will cause the electricity prices to raise 3 times the rate of inflation. And it will cost households an average of $390 to $504 annually. So, in looking at your homeless segment last hour, this is just adding cost on to consumers that they really can't bear. Between now and 2040, Common Sense Institute estimates it will cost every household between $6,400 and $9,200. So huge cost. And the really sad thing is that you really can't go to 100% renewables without killing your grid. Experts estimate about 30% renewables before your grid becomes unstable. And then you run the risk of brownouts and blackouts. So, but again, good for Jared Polis. He will not be governor by then. And hopefully for all of us, he will be at the end of his political life as well.
That's Kathleen Sgamma. She's the principal of Use Advocacy. Now, Kathleen, voters seem to want this type of green energy in Colorado. They're voting for Democrats. They seem to support it. I mean, Jared Polis and others are killing the oil and gas industry, and it doesn't seem like it's costing them electoral votes. Do people understand what this really requires? You had some good stats there on cost, and costs are going to drive up, but windmills aren't necessarily the most green when it comes to their production, when it comes to building all of these new power lines you're going to have to take from eastern Colorado into Denver in order to fulfill the power needs. This isn't carbon-free to build all this.
That's a good point. It takes a lot of oil and natural gas to deliver those wind turbines. They are, some people object to the amount of land that they use and the unsightliness of them. So those are issues that are, and also they have their own environmental impacts, from the land use to the impact on birds and bats. They're not completely green and cost-free and clean. So, when you look at an energy mix in the state, it has to be balanced. It has to be a mix of 24/7 natural gas and coal, which is, provides 24/7 electricity, unlike wind and solar, which are intermittent. You need that baseline power. You need stability in your grid. And yes, definitely you can have renewables in there, but when you get to 100% renewables, you run the risk of brownouts and blackouts.
That's Kathleen Sgamma, and it is Sgamma because Jeff, she is the principal of multiple use advocacy. She's the principal of the multiple use advocacy that's joining us this morning. Now, Kathleen, I'll set the table a little bit, but I want to tell you where I'm going first. Where I'm going is I want to ask you why, especially on the green energy side, is it an all or nothing prospect? I come from the attitude of I like green energy, but my motivation is it's our FU card to OPEC. It's our way to break out of the cycle of them being able to manipulate the oil market. Like you just outlined, the backbone of our energy is going to be fossil fuels. I'm sorry, greenies, get over it. That's how it has to work. But just in our recent past here in Colorado, Xcel Energy sent out notices to some people, yours truly included, that during some of those 99 days that they were doing rolling blackouts because of energy load and because they couldn't provide enough at the time. When the big giant glowy thing in the sky is shining so much, being able to supplement demand with solar could help. It would help you alleviate some of those rolling blackouts, and it also can, in the short term and long term, lower overall costs. But I go back to the beginning of this, Kathleen Sgamma, why, especially on the green side, is this always an all or nothing proposition? What do you think?
Well, you'd have to ask Governor Polis that, because he's trying to get all wind and solar by 2040, and that's just not realistic. It won't happen. Wind and solar can be about 30% on your grid. Much above that, your grid becomes unstable. So 100%, as you're talking about, Bill, it's got to be balanced. So it should be a mix of natural gas, coal, renewables, nuclear. Nuclear's completely non-carbon, if we really we're serious about climate change. So it's a balance, it's a mix like you're talking about. It shouldn't be all or nothing. If it is all or nothing, we become like Germany and California, where their electricity prices have skyrocketed. And in the case of Germany, not only is their electricity rates are some of the highest in the world, they've driven manufacturing out of Germany, but they actually have to burn more coal than they did at the start of their energy transition because they have so much intermittent energy, and it needs to be backed up by something that actually works 24/7. So, Bill, I totally agree with you. It's got to be a mix. It cannot be all 100% wind and solar.
Now, Kathleen Sgamma, principal of the Multiple Use Advocacy, joining Jeff and Bill live. You may recognize that name. She was up for nomination BLM, but people on the left got a hold of some that just tanked it, and it was crap. So, yeah, they did you dirty on that one, Kathleen. But I want to pull a little bit of a thread on something you had said there about nuclear and the idea that, it's carbon neutral. So why, in your opinion, do you think those that are so worried about the gases and CO2 and the emissions in our air, why do they not embrace nuclear as an alternative? What do you think?
Well, the environmental lobby has been against nuclear since the 70s, and it has been almost impossible to build new nuclear in the United States. And in fact, California, Vermont, other states, or New Hampshire, have shut down their nuclear power in deference to the green lobby. But if we really we're serious about climate change, that's where we would be going to as a nation. And I think the new energy secretary, well, he's not that new anymore, about 6 months in, Chris Wright, also from Denver, he is all about all of the above in nuclear and electricity. And I want to pull out something you said earlier, Bill, as well. Renewables don't get us out of being dependent on OPEC. The United States oil and natural gas producer gets out of being dependent on OPEC. We have produced so much oil in the United States that we are now the #1 producer in the world. We, the American producer, especially out in Colorado and all across the West, we can produce more oil, and we have neutralized OPEC to a great degree. You see, when President Trump bombed Iran, oil prices didn't spike significantly. We're not dependent on the Middle East anymore, and that's because of the American oil and gas producer, not because of wind and solar.
That's Kathleen Sgamma, principal of Multiple Use Advocacy. She served as the president of the Western Energy Alliance for years. And Kathleen, let's talk about what Jared Polis is specifically doing to oil and gas. We had Rocky Mountain Voice on earlier this week, and they're exposing in a 3-part series the effort to take down KPK oil and gas from the Polis administration, saddling them with tremendous regulations. I mean, to the point where there's evidence that Jared Polis is ordering regulators to look for any possible small little violation in order to not only go after KPK, but to go after other industries. He's working after the small oil and gas operations and then working his way up. Chevron's now closing its offices in Denver, laying off 150 people here. This is an all-out war between the Polis administration and the oil and gas industry. Talk to us about the consequences of that, the jobs that could be lost, the impact on our economy. We'd love to get your sense on that.
Yeah, it's no secret that for the last, I'd say, 10 years or so, Democrats have been trying to get the oil and natural gas industry out of Colorado. They want to look at us as if we don't need oil and natural gas. We can just be all wind and solar. Well, again, that's not realistic. Our transportation sector is 97% dependent on oil. It's just not realistic to get rid of oil and natural gas. This administration, the Polis administration, has been extremely hostile to the industry. They are achieving their goal on getting companies out of Colorado, particularly small companies, but now even the big ones, as you just mentioned, Chevron. It is an effort to become like California, frankly. California has killed its oil and gas industry, and they import more foreign oil. They don't produce it in their state, so they lose out on the economic benefit. And apparently that's what Jared Polis wants for Colorado as well. He wants to take us from being one of the top oil and natural gas producers in the country. We've been producing oil in this state for about 120 years, and he just wants to get rid of it. So, the effect will be he just has to import more energy from outside the state. Again, he's not going to have to pay the consequences of his political decisions. He will be out of office when this all hits Colorado, not just in 2040 with his imagined 100% renewables, but in the next few years as we start to lose more and more state revenue from the oil and natural gas industry, as we start to lose more and more jobs. But he'll be happy out of office. He won't face the consequences.
That's exactly right. One of the best minds out there in analyzing energy, its impact, Kathleen Sgamma, principal multiple use advocacy for years, president of the Western Energy Alliance. It's been a real honor to have you on the show, Kathleen. Thank you so much for taking time to join us.
Pleasure's mine. Thank you.
All right, we'll continue, and you're welcome to join the conversation by giving us a call, 303-696-1971, or texting us on the Dan Caplis Law text line, 720-819-5115. I want to give you all just insight on this because we live in Elbert County. There's a big battle happening with Excel. It has to do with property rights and mandates. Excel saying Jared Polis has given the state a mandate, renewable energy by 2040. And baby, that is a blank check. That is a blank check to eminent domain seizures. That is a blank check for Excel and other energy companies to go out there and just build what's necessary in order to do that. And for you all here in Denver, you got to understand what's about to happen to eastern Colorado. You're going to see major windmills and solar farms going up in eastern Colorado because it's the only place you can build these. And then high transmission lines, those big ones. High energy transmission lines are going to be built to bring all of that from eastern Colorado into Denver. So for those that love the environment, those that love green energy, there's going to be a lot of building going on that's not necessarily green in order to achieve this. It's going to destabilize the energy grid because we can't live off of 100% clean energy and have a stable grid. It's going to cost a lot. It's going to result in eminent domain seizures, all to achieve Jared Polis' 2040 energy plan. And as you've seen throughout Denver, it's killing jobs. We have not supplemented on the green side all the jobs we've lost on the oil and gas side. So it's a net loser for our economy. But maybe this is what you want. Maybe you believe in unicorns and rainbows and all that, and if we can get to green energy, everything's going to be great in Colorado. Maybe I'm wrong. Give me a call, 303-696-1971, or text us on the Dan Capitalist Law text line, 720-819-5115. All right, let's talk Guy Rees. My wife and I have been talking about updating our home for a while. We took a big first step. Went to Guy Rees in Parker. Let me tell you, it was an absolutely fantastic experience. We sat down with a professional designer. Her name was Crystal. They showed us an incredible selection of Hunter Douglas custom blind shades and shutters. And look, I've done some few home renovations, blinds and paint and stuff like that. And I always thought it was kind of just up to me to wander around a big box store and, you know, I don't know what the difference between a satin paint is and a gloss paint. Who knows? You know, kind of stumbling through all that. With Guy Rees, you get that personal service that guides you through a custom design process that really improves the way your home's going to look. Okay, so whether you got curtains that are clashing or just want a fresh look, Guy Rees has the solutions. Their designers are experts. They can help you with everything from window treatments to full room decor. Here's the best part. They offer a personalized in-home consultation, which means they come out to your house, they bring samples, you can see what it's going to look like directly on your wall with the light in your home. So you can get the same expert advice right in your own home. Do yourself a favor. Get started today. Visit GuyRees.com to schedule your in-home consultation. That's GUIRYS.com. GUIRYS.com. Go see the great people at Guy Rees. You'll be sure to thank me. And we'll continue. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710 KNUS. Now, Jeff, this comes to us from 1982. This is the English band Madness. This song is called Our House, actually inspired by the living conditions of one of the band members growing up. This was everywhere. Early 80s? Yeah. A lot of people in the audience will recognize this one, but yeah, this is, again, the second ska era that comes through in the 80s. So, yeah, this is Madness. One of the best ever.
This is madness. Absolutely madness right now. So if you're tuning in,
this is great.
We are now 2 hours and 40 minutes into Jeff being forced to listen to god-awful ska music.
Ska music's
simply
amazing.
because I said it was crummy music. Bill's getting back at me. Is there any music you don't like? Is there music that you don't like as much as I don't like ska?
Here's the thing, okay? Audience, pay attention to this one. At this point, there's no way in hell I'm telling you.
Yeah, I know. You're taking my honest critique and just weaponizing it. It's like we're brothers. It's like we're brothers. And you're just like...
That's kind of the relationship here. Now, the highlight is that we're at 2 hours into this, and Jeff's left eye's getting a little twitchy when the music hits.
I have, like, no energy. It's like zapped me for my energy to have to listen to ska.
Yeah, but here's the thing. He's going to get revenge on me next
week.
Well,
then tell me what type of music you don't like.
It's going to be Jeff's songs.
Because it's only going to be equal if I can play at the same level and rate the amount of music you hate and type.
Here's the problem. There's very few actual genres that I really hate.
It's part of me just dealing with you.
Yeah, it is. It is the burden you have to carry in life, and I apologize about that. My wife and my kids feel it every day. I get it. It's a heavy backpack to carry, my friend. But yeah, we can do your songs next week. If you want to do something that I hate, I'll think about that. Ones that, yeah, because there isn't a lot of genres I don't, because I cross. And part of this is, you don't like the trumpets and stuff right there. However, I grew up in a house in which it was orchestral music. It was symphonic music. It was classical music all the time. And so as a kid, I'm hearing these instruments that I listen to all the time used in a different way. So, yeah, it was completely and totally different. That's part of the reason that ska holds a better place in my heart than it does in yours.
Well,
but
and
we'll
the
see.
text messages are divided on this
pretty
equally.
Just like
Doug saying, yes, madness, the weekend has officially started.
Madness
and
is
Doug,
awesome.
I will tell you, yes, the weekend has officially started. I've checked out. My mind is somewhere else on a beach listening to George Strait, not ska. And
hey, Doug,
the line of all lines comes from Pastor Mike, who said that there's a direct correlation between your ability to have a girlfriend and your love of ska.
I know. Luckily, I found a woman that lets me see her naked on a semi-regular basis. But
Himalayan throat singing.
That's still up in the air. Ooh, I like that. The Who. I can do The Who.
Why?
Yeah, I can do The Who. The Who, I saw them live. They are fantastic. Dude.
The Who does Himalayan throat singing?
Wrong Who. You're thinking of the WHO, not the HU. Again, I know. That this is the burden that Jeff carries, having to do the show with me. Now,
I know. I've lost all energy.
Yeah. Now, I think this was you and I were talking about this yesterday. Doug, I got something special coming up for you next hour. Oh, maybe we'll play it next break. I'm not sure. But let's just give you a little bit of a hint, Doug. I'm bringing something that I think is close to your heart, and it's from the Green album. Only you and I know what we're talking about right now. But we'll check that later. Yeah. So, also, come join us at Taste of Douglas County. We are going to be hanging out. They are letting us out in public yet again. Yes, this month we are going to be visiting an IHOP, but also we are going to be hanging out with Mike Boyle at the Taste of Douglas County. That's coming up August 21st. Starts at 5 o'clock in the evening. This is one of the best values you're going to have in town because it is $10 and dozens of restaurants let you mill about and taste their food. Okay, let's reiterate that. $10 at the Douglas County Fair. And you get to wander around and get free food. You know how much that is costing you when you go to the McDonald's. You know how much it's costing you when you go to the fast casual places. Even our friends at IHOP, they've got some things that hit right around the $10 price point, but it's not endless. It's not walk around and keep going back and get as many pancakes as you want. That's what you got here. Okay, now you don't stand at the booth and keep eating them like you're, just feeding your face. But what you do is you mill about, and Pepsi's going to be out there giving you something to drink, and we've got a whole bunch of other restaurants that are going to be out there. Mike Boyle setting it all up, helping out Taste of Douglas County. Been doing this for years, and for whatever reason, we are going to be allowed out in public to hang with y'all as well. So mark the calendars, August 21st. $10 gets you in, and lots of delicious food. The food was so good. The gelato was amazing last year. It was so good. Great pizza. We had so many things. Met some great people. So we want to hang out with you. Taste of Douglas County, August 21st. Mike Boyle. Be there. We'll be there.
And Billy's taste in food is a lot better than his taste in music. I'll tell you that. It's actually, I mean, if you're as repulsed as I am by what you've had to listen to today, and you go, I'm not going to the taste of Douglas. I don't like his taste at all. Believe me, he's got better food taste.
Thank
than
you so much for
music
that.
Taste.
I did. One of the joys of this show today has been the little tiny slights that you've been able to get into me, because I do there's this real brother relationship here. You are just nailing
It's
it, my
because
friend.
you're
This is great.
openly torturing me.
Yes, I know. Oh,
and you know you are.
Yes. And again,
and you just keep going with it.
Like here's the thing: is the audience has to understand this is done out of love for Jeff and a little bit of spite. There's a little bit of spite in there. I am honest about this. The spite is a little bit of the spice in there, but this is love. This is why I want him to bring music to us next week, and we'll talk about that though.
Bill and I both have great love and affirmation.
See what I've done to him.
We love the guy. Dan Caplis of Dan Caplis Law. Dan suggests you should choose a lawyer who shares your values, because who you choose to represent you in an injury case says a lot about you to everybody involved in the case. By the way, you know what's going to happen now, Bill?
Ooh, what?
You know Antifa's going to show up at like any political event I ever do and just play ska. It's a way that it's going to get me away.
Well, here's the thing.
Like
if
the
that
socialists are going to be out there playing ska music. I won't interview them.
Well, here's the thing: is think about this. This is kind of like building up that callus. So you kind of get introduced, and the thing is, man, I got your back. Okay, yeah, just like we're brothers. So I got it. The idea is that you can make fun of your family, but you don't let anybody else make fun of your family. So that's it, man. You're family. So they do that. I'm going out there, and I will dance along with them. I will play with them, and I will make sure that the one thing they don't ever want to do is play that music again. I got your back, my friend. I will bring my friends. My friends will come, and we will dance.
They're going to play this. You don't need to kick me in the back, Antifa.
No.
You just got to play ska music.
Yeah,
all right.
Wait until you see a bunch of old white guys skanking out there in the middle of the park.
What
You're not
is
going to play that again.
What is that?
See? It's part of the dance. Yeah.
God, it's the worst. All right. Dan Caplis is the best. He's the son of a police officer, and he's the former seminarian.
Probably doesn't God all.
Yeah, I guarantee he doesn't. Has dedicated the last 40 years of his life to helping people who are hurt in serious motor vehicle crashes. Dan is believed to be the only lawyer in Colorado history to win 5 straight multi-million-dollar verdicts in Colorado crash cases. Dan is also believed to have won the largest truck crash verdict in Colorado state history. Dan Caplis Law is the official law firm partner of the Denver Nuggets and the Colorado Avalanche. Dan Caplis Law, a serious firm for serious cases, unlike this show, which is not serious at all. Dan accepts righteous injury cases on a percentage fee basis so that he can represent good people from all walks of life without regard to ability to pay. So if you need Dan's help, give him a call, 303-770-5551, 303-770-5551, or hit dancaplis.law.com. That's Dan, C-A-P-L-I-S, law.com. We'll continue. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Wake up, Denver. There's no better place to start your morning than IHOP, where the pancakes are fluffy, the coffee is hot, and the smiles are endless. Wednesday, August 27th, join Jeff and Bill as they broadcast their show live from IHOP at 1595 South Colorado Boulevard in Denver. You're officially invited to be part of the excitement. Come grab your favorite breakfast and watch the Jeff and Bill Show in action from 6 to 10 a.m. Don't forget to try the special Jeff and Bill breakfast, pancakes, any style eggs, and crispy bacon, all for just $7.10. It's a deal as good as their hot takes. All they need is you. Bring your appetite, bring your friends, and kick off your day with great food and great conversation. See you Wednesday, August 27th at IHOP.
Shout out to a friend of the show, Doug. It's one of his bands. This is Skankin' Pickle. Yeah. This is Special Brew. Originally recorded in the 80s by Bad Manners. This comes out, 89-ish, 90-ish? This is an ode as we're heading into the weekend, and we talked about alcohol consumption earlier, my friend Jeff. This is an ode to beer. The number of ska songs that actually highlight beer is kind of somewhat ridiculous. This one, though, is a love song to Carlsberg Lager. Specifically to Carlsberg Lager. Yeah. Special Brew by Skankin' Pickle.
I have never in my life looked more forward to cowboy poetry.
You think this music is stopping then?
Yes. Yes. At least I get Jeff Hildebrand here.
Saw these guys with Mustard Plug. Really good. Really good. Really good band live. This comes off the Green album. Shout out to Doug. This is his thing, man. I did this for you.
Jared Polis.
Skankin' Pickle in here.
Jared Polis. Not only is Jared Polis forcing the 2040 energy mandate upon everybody here in Colorado, which is going to result in big changes to eastern Colorado. I mean, you're going to see those ugly windmills everywhere, major solar panels put up, and then high-density lines, those big energy lines. Not those small little rural telephone pole lines, but the big metal energy lines, bringing all of that from eastern Colorado into Denver, because it's the only way to do it. And you're having these big eminent domain fights that are popping up in Elbert County where farmers and ranchers are having their land taken or threatened to be taken by Excel if they don't rent out options. It's going to dramatically shift Colorado, but also Polis threatening to withhold $280 million from cities that don't comply with housing laws. This is another big deal that Coloradans need to understand what they're doing. So you get this progressive drive to end oil and gas, make everything green, everything windmills, everything solar, and they want to transform the city of Denver, and particularly the counties around Denver, into high-density multifamily apartment complex developments. I mean, Jared Polis is fundamentally changing Colorado, and he's going to withhold up to $280 million from cities that won't comply with his housing laws. This is from Channel 7.
Right, you said Governor Polis?
Governor Polis.
Not President Trump.
Nope.
Saying if you don't do what I want, you silly states, and doing this, then I'm going to hold the money. And wait, hang on. Wait. Okay, I'm a little confused here, Jeff. Now, you got to walk me through this, because I thought that we had this thing about a special session recently about all this federal money that was cut because of the big, beautiful bill, and now we were running around with our hair on fire because we were $1 billion. It was supposed to be coming from the feds because they decided to cut programs or said we aren't doing and following rules, and now the governor, they called the special session, is doing the same thing, but to local counties and municipalities? Say it isn't so, my friend. Notice my shocked face this morning. Super. No, not shocked at all. He's doing the same damn thing. Seriously, this is ridiculous.
Exactly. He is utilizing the power of the purse to force his political will on others.
After complaining about someone else doing the same thing. That's the BS involved in this.
Isn't that the moment where we, on either side, just with politicians, you go,
yes.
It's always and ever has been and always will be about power.
Power. Yep, it is. This is the thing that is the maddening part about this, is he's doing the exact same thing he just complained about coming from the president and the other party. Yet when he's getting his goals done, then it's just fine and dandy to say you can't have this money. But God forbid we talk about what happens in the big, beautiful bill and cutting stuff out of our educational system. We're screaming and yelling about how much money Colorado's going to lose for schools and other programs because of cuts that were made because of priorities changing or wanting us to make sure that we're not a sanctuary city anymore. I remember him yelling and screaming, well, maybe not him particularly, but the Democrats screaming about, they're going to take money from us because we are a sanctuary state and sanctuary city, that somehow we're going to lose funding. And that's not fair.
It's not fair.
But here, it's perfectly fair. It's a bunch of crap. And this is why I hate politics.
Yeah, right. And I think
core of it.
I think what Jared Polis is going to do to these cities is look, it's all part of a plan. You have to understand this.
Yeah, talk us about the plan.
That the light rail, the ride the bus, the subsidized scooters to get you to ride the light rail, okay? These counties and these cities are all along the I-25 corridor. And what Jared Polis wants is apartment complexes all along those corridors. And he's stepping into these counties and saying, I don't care, for instance, Douglas County, if you don't want apartment complexes all around it. I am going to withhold money from you if you don't change your rules and build these, because we're going less cars, fewer cars. We're going more public transportation. And so, for instance, parking minimums with apartment complexes, they're getting rid of those, okay?
Yeah.
And they're going to jam I-25 all along that corridor with high-density, multifamily. They want to transform the city of Denver into a New York City, Boston, Los Angeles style city where the traffic is so bad you have to ride the public transportation. Yeah. And then they're going to pay for it by building big green power structures all throughout eastern Colorado. Guys, if you've grown up in Colorado, 10 years from now, if Democrats continue, this isn't going to look anything like what Colorado was.
Well, here's something I want to point out, Jeff, that we talked about yesterday, some of the idea of RTD, and we talked about the program. They're doing the scooters, but something that we had inside the conversation that I think is relevant here is the change in schedule to the trains. Trains used to run every 10 to 15. Now they run every half hour, sometimes every hour. You're going to put high-density living next to the train line and then not run the trains as often.
And then provide a ton of bike lanes.
Yes.
I mean, this is agenda-driven political leadership. We'll talk more about it. Plus, more poetry. Less ska.
Music.
You're listening to Jeff and Bill.
KNUS.